All right, hey guys. Here we are on Monday morning. The market is just opening up. We're looking at about 10:30 right now, and I wanted to record before this just to show the setup, but I had some work to do, so wasn't able to. But placed two trades to make basically an Iron Condor, and wanted to go through my reasoning, what I'm thinking. Um, on both sides. So the market is up a good bit. We opened up about 30, 35 points and then trailed off a little bit. I had been meaning to place a put trade around 10 o'clock anyway, because the market had been showing a bit of strength, not a lot of strength, but it had been trending, sideways to up since mid June at this point. So when I look back at previous days, an early put spread trade would have worked out almost all the time. So I wanted to stick my hat in the ring and try it. And even though the stochastics was up, we hadn't came down yet. Looking at the history, if we got in early enough, the market kind of rallied or stayed put for the most part during the remainder of the day. So I wanted to see if I can get lucky on that today as well. So any early put trade would have worked, and we'll see if that trend continues today. Usually, when I try something new, it doesn't work out, but we're going to try it and see. And I also placed a call trade at the same time, a call bear call spread, because I could get R3. So if you see that little green smudge up there, that is the pivot point for R3. And I think that the market is going to stay below that. It only breaches R3 maybe five, not even five, like 1% of the time, if you look back through history. And we're playing around with R2 right now. So I think that the likelihood of this trade working out is very, very good. So it just so happened that I really should have done it earlier, but like I said, I got caught up in some work. I wish I saw it here, but I couldn't get to my trading platform in time. So, this is good enough for now. We'll see how that works out. But basically created an Iron Condor. So we'll see if the market stays between where we hope it stays. I did go ahead and set up a stop loss on this put leg right here, just because it is not conforming with my normal rules, which is to wait for stochastics to fall below and then curl up. I'm banking on the fact that hopefully it's early enough and enough theta premium in there to give me enough space to where if the market does fall down, hopefully it rebounds back up into and not, make a lower low than yesterday, because we don't have any news out there that's really pushing the market around or the market's anticipating. This is this week's trading calendar, economic calendar, and there's really not much on here. I mean, we had housing market index this morning, and that was a bad number, and it really didn't do too much to the market. Um, so we really don't have that much. I mean, the biggest thing I can see is unemployment claims Thursday, but the market's probably not going to preemptively react to that until Wednesday. All of this is housing, and housing is kind of on fire right now. So even if we got some bad numbers here, it's kind of expected because the market is kind of just like overheated at this point. So I don't really anticipate news pushing us around until at least midweek, unless we get something, unknown go on in the world or something like that. So for now, I think the market will chill somewhere between this range, at least for today. So that's my thinking. We'll check back in later to see how that works out. All right, here we are midday. It is 12:41 p.m. on again July 18th, and the market has done exactly what I wanted it to do for a change. Right now, it's just ranging, bouncing in a defined area, not really doing too much. Trades are both at a profit right now. Just a quick note that I wanted to discuss regarding checking your emotions during the trade. It looks fine right now, but early on in the trade, when it's very, very early and the market's starting to trend down on you, and this green bar at the time was red as well, and it looks like it's starting to fall below your marker. It's inside, you can start to feel a little bit of panic, not a lot, especially the more experience that you have. But in the beginning, and even still now, I can still feel it. You start to feel just a hair of panic, and you start to think, okay, what do I do if? What do I do if? Which isn't bad. You definitely want to know what to do if, but you need to learn to live with that inner feeling, that inner voice, and control it so it doesn't control you. That's why when you go into the trade, you kind of know what you're going to do, when you're going to get out. For example, my trade on the put side here, I would get out if the market were to start testing this particular pivot point right here. And later on in the day, if it started to test midway between my trade and my strike price, so maybe around 2 o'clock, if it was starting to test this area and started to trend below it, I would get out. But this area would be fine. And then later in the day, if we're in this area right here or lower or trending to get around this area, I would get out of the trade. So as long as towards the end of the day we're at around 38, the 38.50s or higher, I'm still in there. So just different for different parts of the day, for various reasons that I've already gone over. But that panic still sets in even this early in the trade. And it's like, oh God, what did I do? What did I do? Did I trade too early? Should I have waited? All of that kind of stuff that gets into your head. So you want to learn to start controlling that feeling. Again, that's why I put in a stop loss right here. So if things started to get too out of control early, I'd just be out of the trade and reset. But the feeling doesn't go away. So I just want to make that note that no matter how much you control for things going wrong, no matter how much research that you put in, that feeling is still going to be there, always somewhere inside. I guess unless you have so much money that you really legitimately don't care. But for me, that feeling never goes away. So I just want to say that even with experience, just don't expect it to go away. You just have to learn to live with it. Right now, if the market took a dive down to here, that feeling would return for me. But this right here feels good for me. I don't have that feeling right now. But if it, shot up really quick or shot down really quick, even if it were to recover, you don't know that at the time. So that kind of panicky feeling, that pit of your stomach feeling is still going to be somewhere in there, and you just have to live with it. So just wanted to place that note out there, and we'll see where we end up. I'll probably check in another couple hours. Hey guys, it is now 1:46. And I just wanted to discuss something real quick. We're getting a little weakness in the market here. And what I wanted to discuss is this right here. So stochastics has breached the 20 line and we're in the oversold territory right now. But you can see the stochastics line is flattened out. We're still in oversold territory, but the market is still dropping. And what I used to do when I first started is I would see this and this cross down here. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. So this one stochastic line crossing the other, and I would say, well, that's the market turning around. Well, obviously not. It can definitely keep going down. So it's very important if you're going to use those stochastics to wait for it to curl back up into the purple and have an established bottom before you trade on it, because it likes to pull the okey doke all the time, likes to juke you out. So you can see we had two jukes here. We had this one, which might have made you think that the fall had stopped, and then we had this one right here. Well, it still hasn't stopped, and it's continuing. It's not really accelerating, but it is continuing. So it's very important to wait for the stochastics to cross back into the purple and be back on the way up before you trade in general. And that's what I was saying earlier with this trade that I made earlier. I know that it broke that rule clearly, but I was going to chance it anyway just because of how the rest of the week did. And I have a, like I said, I have a stop loss here, so it's automatically going to close if it gets too bad. Um, but I just wanted to show that to you guys. Um, Wait for it to curl back up into the purple before you start putting puts below this falling knife. Now, this still isn't at this stage of the day, still not into the area where I'm going to manually close it because I am going to wait till to get into, the 50s at this point in the day before I start considering closing it, because as fast as it's falling, when it falls fast like this, like when it hits kind of like a brick wall and it just falls down like this, it has a tendency to rebound pretty hard and retrace pretty hard and then kind of calm down. So I'm going to look to see that while I still have some breathing room. I still got plenty of buffer right here, and it's still close to my trend line. Then I can wait this out, see what it does for a little bit. But if it starts to get into the 50s, like in this area, then I'm just going to go ahead and close it out and call it a L. So that's where we're at. We'll check back in later and see how it does. Hey y'all, I am back for the final portion of this video. It's actually the next day. I got busy, so I wasn't able to record the close or anything yesterday. So, but you can see from here the price action that happened after we left off. This is exactly what I was afraid would happen, and of course, it happens when I try something new. That's just, of course, right? That's what the market does. But I was prepared for it, so I exited right here on this bar right here. That was my preset exit point, and I'm very glad that I did because you can see that the market definitely continued on down. You can see the stochastics, just kind of flatlined here and never really established itself back up into the purple area. It tried right here at the end of the day, but you can see what happened if you got in right there. Now, there's a good way to distinguish this kind of fake out from really getting into the purple. The market actually dropped on news that I actually didn't see it until after I exited the trade. So I've actually added something to my setup here. But we had news that Apple was going to quote unquote slow down hiring, which I'm not really sure why the market took it so bad. It's not even the first big company to announce it was going to slow down hiring. But anyway, that's what caused this drop, and the market was really sensitive to it. The market just absolutely plummeted. If you look at Apple stock, it's just shot straight down. Um, but so this drop, I think it started right around 12. So maybe around here is when the news first came out and it started to get picked up. Um, but you can see that right on this bar, right after I got out, we got a breach of my trend line right here. Not a severe breach, but enough to be worrisome at this time of the day. And it just kept going down and down. I think I became aware of the news probably around this time right here. Because before that, I was thinking about re-entering the trade. But after I got that wind of that news, I was just like, nah, I'm gonna just stick with the trade that I have, the call spread that I have up here. So that won convincingly. But this one did lose. I was expecting it again, but just sucks that when you try something new, here comes news, and news is king. News will wreck any plans that you have. So you have to really stay on top of that. I think if it wasn't for the news, the trade would have been fine. But of course, that's just the way, that's the breaks, right? So you can see there was my strike price. And even if I held out to the end, I would have taken a total loss instead of the small loss that I took right here. So that's where it was. And just a sneak peek of the next day. It didn't even matter, but we'll talk about that in the next video. All right, that's it for today. Take it easy, guys.